In family and religious studies under Judaism, last lesson we touched on the covenants. So we are moving on to the topic of law. And before I go any further, you can find out that the covenants and law have a relationship, sort of, because one of the covenant mediators in the name of Moses was the one who came up with some of the laws. So what are our objectives here? Our learning objectives: number one, we have to distinguish the different types of laws in the Pentateuch, like in the Pentateuch, in the Torah, in the first 5 books of the Old Testament, which were written by Moses, right? And it's not really first 5 books. Like the last 3 are the ones which carry the laws that we're supposed to do. Talk of Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers. Yes. So we also have to interpret the Decalogue. What's the Decalogue? The Decalogue are the 10 Commandments. Yes, we also have to look into that. So mainly, we are looking at the laws which are covered in the Pentateuch. And these are casuistic laws and apodictic laws, then the Decalogue. So we are looking at the 3 types of laws. But the Decalogue also works hand in hand with apodictic. I'm trying to explain where they link, right? They have a certain axis point. So we are supposed to analyze different types of laws in the Pentateuch, right? And also to assess the significance of the Decalogue. What's the importance of the 10 Commandments? So, the term law, what does it mean? The Jewish law. The term law is also understood as statute, ordinance, or precept. So the Old Testament contains about 600 commandments to Israel, covered in those books that I mentioned: Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. So these books, along with the Genesis, were all written by Moses and are referred to as the law. They are called the Pentateuch, because the Pentateuch, penta means 5, right? A shape with 5 sides is called a pentagon. That's why it's also called the Decalogue. A shape with 10 sides is called the decagon. A period of 10 years is called a decade. So dec means 10. Then penta means 5. So they are called the Pentateuch, or the Torah, or the Mosaic Torah, which means a volume consisting of 5 books or sections. So we have 2 types of laws that are noted in the Hebrew law codes. These are casuistic or case laws, then apodictic laws. So these laws, of course, they appear around Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, but they are mainly enshrined from Exodus chapter 19 to chapter 50. Remember, when we are dealing with this, we don't have any pressure of getting any commentaries or what. As long as we have our Bible and we use our brains, then we are fine. So let me start with the casuistic laws, right? So casuistic laws are also called case laws. They usually deal with laws which have something to do with the human interaction. For example, if I would say honor your father and your mother, that's an example of a case laws. So it has a structure. You have to know the structures of these, like what we are doing in literature. Like you have to know the structures of these, how a case law is written, how a apodictic law is written. So casuistic or case laws, they contain a conditional statement and a type of punishment to be meted out. These laws are concerned with the civil matters. Civil matters, say divorce, like in the family, they are also part of the family laws. So these are laws concerned with the civil matters in ancient Israel. That's like what we have under the Ministry of Justice here in Zimbabwe. We have what we call the civil court. It deals with the cases which have something to do with the people who are close to each other. Yes. So case laws have a 3-tier structure, namely the introductory formula that begins with if, when, whenever. Then second, the narration of the offense, and the third, the consequence of the result. What am I saying? If you steal, you will be jailed. So the word if is the introduction. Then if you steal is the second narration. Then the last part covers the consequence of that stealing. So the case laws are conditional, yes, or they are subjunctive in terms of mood. They have a cause and effect. If you do this, you get this. If you do this, there are results due to what you would have done. So like, it's also referred to as casuistry. Casuistry is reasoning used to resolve moral problems, right? So it also has some similarities with the surrounding nations. There are some ancient Near East countries, the surrounding nations Near East, right? Hence they have been believed to have been borrowed from surrounding nations. That's what they say. So those we say the Israelites borrowed prophecy from outside, they also come with this as a point, right? So they are recorded in a section called the Covenant, the Book of the Covenant, like also the parts which covers Exodus 20 to 23. So many of these laws elaborate on the Decalogue or provide for its interpretation in specific specific situations. So like casuistic laws, sometimes they are weighty and complex and are frequently organized in topical groups. Yes, if you check in the Bible, I usually use the Revised Standard Version. They will show a topic. They put a topic that this section is going to deal with the treatment of servants. Like on Exodus 22 verse 2 to 11, it deals with the treatment of servants. Like I said, the case laws have something to do with how the people are close to each other, interact with each other. So panobatwa Exodus 22 panenge pachibudziswa nyaya yekutreatwa kwemaservants, right? With the bodily the injuries. If you move on to chapter 22, you read that there are some laws which have something to do with the property losses. If you lose a property, what are you supposed to do? Then we also have the apodictic laws, right? Apodictic laws are absolute laws. The difference between casuistic laws and apodictic laws is the fact that the apodictic laws are unconditional. They usually show the relationship between the people and God. Yes. For example, if you are asked not to worship another God, that's apodictic law. So you find out that of the 10 commandments, the first 4 of them, they like show the relationship between the relationship between God and the people. Then the other show the relationship between people and the people, right? So they issue absolute orders and allow no exceptions. For example, the 10 commandments, they can also be negative in form. For example, I can say, you shall not kill. They can also be positive, right? You can say, honor your father and your mother, that your days may belong in the land which the Lord gives you. So it can be a relationship between people and people, but God comes through to give you the long life if you honor your mother or the father. So the 10 apodictic laws are divided into 2 groups. The first 4 deal with the people's relationship with God, and the last 6 address the relationship of the people to one another. So the other one, of course, they can be apodictic. All of the 10 commandments, they're apodictic, but we find out that some of them are casuistic. But the moment they put together as a relationship between people and the people, that's sort of civil. So unlike case laws, though, the apodictic laws have a 2-tier structure, beginning with an introductory formula. Hakuna ma explanations akawanda. Thou shalt not kill. Hazvina explanation. Kuti ukazouraiwa unozoenda ujeri aiwa. Thou shalt not kill. Simple. So in terms of the mood, they are imperative. Like, they are not conditional, they are absolute instructions, and they have a divine sanction. So the apodictic laws are believed to be authentic or unique to Israel, because Israel don't have 10 commandments. So you cannot compare them with any other surrounding nations or any other religions. So it's like they are as final as they come. Just as simple as that. So you have to note those type of differences. But the question you might ask, yes, explain the difference between the apodictic laws and the casuistic laws. So like